Hi, this is David Morgan, co-founder of SD Marketing and one of your marketing madmen. First of all, I'd like to wish each and every single one of you a happy holidays with your families. We close out 2021. And as we enter 2022, it's that time of the year and it's time for us to start planning ahead. And with that said, in terms of our security company's marketing, it's always important to have a plan. And in terms of that plan, we've got to start with that of the end in mind. And over the next few minutes, I'll be covering a handful of different trends or things to take into consideration as we plan for 2022 and beyond. So first, it's super important to make sure that we're investing time as well as money in that of building a strong brand image or a brand presence. Keep in mind, when we take into consideration that of our prospects, most of our prospects are out of market, meaning they're not actively looking for what it is that we do. And it's super important for us to invest in that of our brand, right? Because a potential customer is more inclined to work with someone that they know, like, and trust. And that's why it's so important today, yes, today, to start investing in your brand and getting the good news out and start evangelizing what it is that you do and what's unique about that of your security company. And next is that of being hyper-focused on that of local marketing. Now, for example, you may have a service area that could be as little as just a few miles, or it could be hundreds of miles, or potentially the entire state and beyond. But what I mean by hyper-focused local marketing is not only do we want to make sure that we are not using this water bottle here to try and fill up a swimming pool, we want to use a hose to fill up the pool, right? And when it comes to that of our marketing, rather than being very sporadic, and because we may have a limited budget, and rather than having our service area in terms of where we're allocating our resources with time and dollars being too big, we want to have it more narrow focused so that there's more of a concentration so that prospects are seeing more of us, right? And of course, we want to make sure that we're pushing out the right things. And what I mean by hyper-focused as well is being very specific. Rather than being the end-all be-all for everyone, why not be laser focused and more hyper focused, I should say, in what it is that you do and the types of residential and or commercial end users that you work with. Next is that of events, right? Events over the last couple of years, things have, we've had this gift that's kept on giving, and we've shifted to that of more of an online type event. And yes, in certain parts of the country, things are wide open, but keep in mind, not just us, but our potential customers have shifted the way that they go about doing things, right? And taking advantage of events to position yourself as the authority locally within your market is super important, whether it's an online event, whether it's an offline event in person, or potentially could be in hybrid. I'd really challenge you by leveraging video and other methods to really take advantage of events and what the events will do. And keep in mind, it's not when we put on an event and we market the fact that we're putting on an event, we're not necessarily just marketing for the individuals that are attending. We're also marketing to individuals that don't attend the event so that they, once again, get to know, like, and trust us. And they perceive us as being that of that local security liaison, so that when they become in market, we want them to think of us first. So next is building that of our audiences, but it's not just our audiences, it's building our own audiences. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. There are ways across the big publishers, and not limited to, but like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn as an example, whereas we can quote unquote rent audiences. And what I mean by that is we can target specific users that are geographically where we are, and they meet the demographics as to who our prospective customers are. And the whole point is we don't necessarily own that traffic, right? Or perhaps we rent a database or other methods. And my point being here is, in every single activity that we do with it, whether it's with our existing base of customers or whether it's with prospects as well, every single time we have an opportunity, we want to be adding to our databases so that we can email market to them. If we need to be sending things in that of the good old snail mail, we can do so as well. But we want to be able to build our audiences, make sure that we own them. And ultimately, it's all about the data, right? The more data that we have, and for those of us that have CRMs to be able to manage our prospects and our existing customers, this is where we want to put some careful thought around the data points around them so that we can be very hyper-focused in terms of the specific messaging that would be geared towards one group versus that of another. Next is going to be that of content, right? And I touched base on this earlier, but it's not necessarily, in our content, we aren't necessarily looking just to say, hey, come buy from me, right? It's like, hey, we do this, and we'd love for you to come buy from us. Well, sure, like nothing may happen until a sale happens. But remember, most of our prospects are out of market. And one of the ways to help allow them to really think about us when they become in market is to once again have them know, like, and trust us, right? And part of that is positioning ourselves as like a mini thought leader. And the things that we take for granted, these are things that we need to communicate and educate, right, to that of our prospects. There's an interesting statistic that I came across recently, which is that most Americans are exposed on a daily basis to 4,000 plus ads daily, right? I didn't mean to say daily twice, but I mean, that's a huge number. And the point being here is, if we're just like everyone else, if we're just asking to come buy from us, then we're going to be in that of the crowd just like everyone else, right? And it's important for us to make sure that we stand out and we position ourselves as a leader, as that of the liaison, so that when our prospects are ready to buy, they come to us and they come seeking us out. And that's part of the tipping point. So the next is personalization. It's important for us to embrace personalization. I also, as I was putting some thought and doing a little bit of research for this, there are just a number of, there's so much marketing that's out there today. And it goes without saying, but as each of us, as we consume these ads that are not important to us are not necessarily going to be things that we will interact and engage with. But imagine if you were on Facebook, or imagine, let's just say one of your prospects, right? Let's just say that you happen to be, a dealer that happens to work within the, within that of property management is one of the industries or vertical markets that you focus on. And imagine if one of the property managers that you're vying for, or that may be interested in what it is that you do, but they don't even necessarily know that you exist. Imagine if they're on this device and as they're scrolling through their Facebook or their LinkedIn feed, there was an ad that came about that stated, "Are you a property manager? What's your," and I'm going to butcher this, but like, what are you doing to improve your security? Or if we had something, my point being here is, it's not just about in the emails, "Hi, David," right? Because that's easy to personalize and that's very accustomed to. But in our digital ads and other marketing, it's a matter of personalizing to call out to that of our prospects, but to also, in the marketing that we're doing, make sure that we are providing information that's incredibly useful. So it's as if the marketing that we're pushing out, it's almost as if we're having this one-to-one conversation, if that makes sense. So personalization, embracing it, is something that would be super helpful in that of 2022 and beyond. So next, in terms of that of our digital ads and that of local search and local listings, it's super important for those of us that haven't done this yet is to claim, and not just claim, but make sure that we optimize that of our local listings, i.e. Google My Business. Keep in mind, Google is the #1 search engine out there today. And you'll notice over the years that the maps section used to be 7+, now it's 3, and it's just getting tougher and tougher, right? The organic results are getting pushed lower and lower on the page. And the point being here is, in order to have a fighting chance, you've got to make sure that you claim and optimize your listings. And what I mean by optimizing is, as you claim it, make sure that you have access to being able to edit it, and make sure you're taking advantage of things. I mean, Google is making a lot of investments in terms of your Google My Business listing. And there are ways to not just to make sure that you have the proper phone number and contact information, but you're able to engage with chat. You can post blogs or content to that. I mean, my point being here is it is super important to make sure that you are focusing your efforts to really help and make sure that you have these things filled out completely to give yourself the best chance so that you can ultimately show up at the top of the results. And next is that of one of the things, or one of the key components of that of your Google My Business listing and other local listings as well, is that of your reviews. And your online reviews, they matter now more than they ever have, because what's happened over the last couple of years is there's been this significant shift to users that are spending more and more time online. And you and we may not necessarily read reviews, or maybe we read reviews for every single purchase that we do for our business and for our, and for our household as well. But keep in mind, we're not doing marketing for us. We're doing marketing for that of our prospective customers. And there's this shift or this trends where these online reviews are more and more important now than what it is that they ever have been. And it's super important to make sure that we are clearly, first things first, we are having happy customers and doing everything in our power from that onboarding process throughout the entire life cycle and that entire journey of that of the customer relationship that we have. But it's super important to make sure that we are sending requests to that of our existing happy customers to be able to provide us with reviews and to make things super simple, super easy for them. And also the other thing is, and this is something that I don't see happen very often, but when a customer of yours takes the time out of their day to provide you with a review, whether it's positive or whether it's constructive, make sure you give them the courtesy to respond. And not some of the time, but respond every single time. I can't stress enough how important that is, because these are all factors to helping you so that when someone does a search for you, they're going to see what it is that Google says about you, as well as what your other local listings are, but also it will help you in that of your ranking factors as well. So the next is on your website. It's super important. One of the other trends is you're going to start to see a lot more web chat on that of your website. So if you've not considered adding web chat to that of your to your website, now may be the time for you to consider it. There are a number of different groups that are out there that offer anything from very low cost to some of the more robust systems that are out there. But it gives you a lot of data, so you can be pinged every single time that someone's coming on the website, see as to what their journey is. It's an opportunity, because keep in mind, right, it goes without saying, but we have the attention span that's less than that of a goldfish. And and we want to make sure that we are, as we're giving that great customer experience, so that our customers and our prospects are able to engage with us on their terms. Chat on your websites is another way for us to be able to allow them to engage with us. So really highly recommend for you to consider that as well. And speaking of that of your website and talking about reviews, once we start to gather some reviews, there are third-party widgets that will allow us to display those reviews on that of your website. So take these things into consideration and have these so that we have that social proof, right? Because as someone is going through your site and they're researching and they see the social proof of other happy customers that they can relate to, this is something that will help potentially push someone over the edge to either pick up the phone and give you a call or to fill out a form on that of your website. So next on the trends is marketing automation, and not just any marketing automation, but AI-based marketing automation. One of the things that we all share in common is there is not enough time in the day. And in terms of your marketing is not a 1 or a 2 or 3, even a 3-person job. It requires, to do it right, it requires an entire team. And being that we all share the fact that there's not enough time in the day, it's all a matter of automating particular marketing things that need to be done, or tactics. And there are ways, and there are thousands of AI-based marketing automation tools that are available today. And you'll want to start with some of the, start with just one, and seeing as to how it can automate some of the tasks, whether it happens to be that of some of your social media posting, whether whether it's helping you with reporting, whether it's with conversion-based optimization, or any of these number of things. So this is one of the things that we're going to see really continue to explode exponentially as we close out 2021 and beyond into 2022. And one of the last item that I wanted to bring out is, and this is something that is super important, because once again, being that there's not enough time in the day, and I'll even take a step back. We've all heard the adage of a picture tells 1,000 words and a video tells 1,000 pictures, right? So with that said, in that of the content marketing that we do, right? Of course, we can have blogs, we can have graphics, we can have infographics, things in that regard, but video should definitely be something that's a part of your mix. And for those of you that say, well, I don't want to hire a fancy crew to come in and do things, well, there are a lot of things. I mean, number one, each of us have one of these in our pockets or in our bags or purses or what have you. So these devices here can be super instrumental in being able to share, once again, educationally, things that are happening. What's the state of video surveillance? What is the state of access control? What are the latest trends in intrusion? What are some of the, what are things that are happening locally in your area? What are some of the latest advancements in technology, right? The fact that we can control virtually everything from your security system, or even transition your home into that of a smartphone, all from the palm of your hands. I mean, these are all things that will elevate us and position us, but not only doing things that are pre-recorded, but also take into consideration whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, or many of the other online platforms that are out there. Don't just do things pre-recorded, but do things live. And as you do things live, what would help to boost your attendance is to market the fact that next Tuesday at 5 p.m., we're going to be going live and we're going to be interviewing, perhaps it could be an existing customer that could be sharing their, or customers that are sharing their experience about why it is that they had a security challenge, what that challenge was, and how it is that you solved it and what the results were. I mean, just the opportunities are endless, right? So I hope that these last few minutes with these, with these dozen or so trends into 2022 and beyond are super helpful. Our goal is to really make sure that we're educating our great industry about the importance and significance of marketing. And I've said this a number of times, and I'll say it again, marketing has never been needed more than it has today. And a lot of the habits that we've learned over the last couple of years, and not just us, but that of our prospects and our customers, these are going to be sticking around for quite some time. So us doing things the same old, the way that we've done things in the past, that's not going to cut it. And that's not going to allow us to really significantly grow our business. So once again, have a happy holidays with that of your family. I can't wait to see each and every single one of you at a live event soon. Thank you so much, and make it a great day.